Homesteaders do need money. So the question is, can a person work a job and homestead at the same time? Well, my answer is no. I bet you didn't see that coming. I know what you're thinking. You know lots of people who do both. Well, it's worth looking into because there's a lot of gray area there. It's been my experience that it doesn't work. And I sure did try a whole lot. Let me tell you about it, and you can make up your own mind. Hello, my name is Joe, and I am building an off-grid homestead on 5 acres of raw land in the Arizona high desert. Before I moved out here, I had a bunch of money saved up, enough to build my house and living expenses for a little bit of time. That wouldn't last forever, so I asked around a little bit. What did other people do to make a living? And you know, not all of them are homesteaders. Some of them just have a regular 9-to-5 job. They just happen to live out here. And for the people that are homesteaders, some of them have a spouse that works, which isn't really working and homesteading at the same time. One is doing the homesteading and the other is working. Others have a pension or some other sort of money saved up. Some are retired. And some are trying to figure that out just like we are. As I was applying for my permits, the county gave me a whole bunch of other requirements, which were very expensive and used up all my savings. So I needed to find a job. And I knew I couldn't work full-time and build a house and take care of all my animals. There's just no daylight hours. So I was looking at part-time jobs. My expenses were pretty low. I had no rent, no utilities, no cable bill or anything like that. So I didn't need much, and I wasn't picky. I'll take anything. So the best option was fast food and retail jobs. I learned pretty quickly that you wouldn't get a call back with limited availability. One time I tried just mornings, any day of the week, just I want to work the morning shift. Well, I never got a call back. So I started to put wide open availability. And they called, and I got some interviews. And in all the interviews, they said, you know, we want to warn you it's part-time. We're looking at 16, 20 hours a week. That was all I was looking for. Great. My commute was about 30 miles each way. That's not a lot. I know a lot of people do more than that. But there's a mountain range between me and the place I work. And that took a toll on my little car. And after a couple months, the engine burned out. But not even counting those expenses for repairs, gas was about $50 a week. And there are things like oil changes and other normal wear and tear that adds up after a while. Other expenses went up too, I noticed. For example, I had to buy more clothes. I can't use the same shoes I use to clean out the stable that I do for my work at the restaurant. Laundry bills went up. I was eating out lunches more often because I was away from home. All in all, I was barely getting ahead. I always said to save up money, live as close to work as possible. Unfortunately, living off-grid is the exact opposite of that. Every job I tried turned into a full-time job. Ever since they changed healthcare, all these jobs are part-time on paper, but in reality, you're working about 35 hours a week. They just want to avoid paying benefits. And when I pushed back against that, the bosses got really mad. Sometimes they would just cut my hours down to 1 shift a week, 8 hours or even 4 hours. The commute over the mountain for a 4-hour shift once a week really wasn't worth it. Sometimes they said, well, you're on the schedule, and 3 no-shows and you're fired. After a few times of that, I learned. So I worked the hours they scheduled me, but no more than that. I figure if I have to show up on time, I should be able to leave on time. Well, they didn't like that. They were expecting to schedule me for a 7-hour shift, stay an extra hour or two to finish whatever work there was. So, that's 8 hours, 9 hours of work plus my hour commute. There's definitely no daylight or even any time to feed my animals. I just couldn't do that. This job wasn't my top priority. Homesteading was. So I try not to get involved in office politics, try to solve problems that weren't my business or go above and beyond. And the boss didn't like that either. So they started yelling at me, called me in the office a few times, written me up a few times. Who needs that? I think part-time jobs are a thing of the past. Or maybe they were never a thing. I remember having a part-time job as a high school kid. So maybe they make exceptions for students, but nobody else. Not sure. So what's the solution? Well, I wish I knew, but I'm learning the system is designed to keep you in. So half measures won't work. You're either in or you're out. It looks like it'll have to be some sort of a self-employment. The gig economy looks pretty promising, but there's no Uber out here. So online businesses, I guess. But I'll figure something out. We all will. I'm definitely not trying to discourage anyone. This is just a heads up, something to think about and plan for accordingly. Well, thanks for watching. As always, I really appreciate your likes, comments, and subscribes. And I'll see you in the next video.